There's a message in your phone that has been sitting there for 4 days. 3 words. How are you doing? You've read it maybe 20 times, and you haven't answered it. It isn't that you don't care. It's the opposite problem. This person knows you well enough that fine won't hold, and the true answer feels too heavy to type. You've started the reply a few times. Doing okay, just a lot on. Then you watch your own thumb delete it, and the thread goes back to waiting. And if you step back far enough, you can see the shape of it. This is what you do. When life gets genuinely heavy, you don't reach out, you sink quietly out of you. The group chat notices before anyone says anything. Your messages get shorter, then rarer. Someone posts a joke you'd normally answer in seconds, and it just sits there. If anyone asks, you have the phrases ready. Work is a lot right now. I've just been terrible on my phone lately, each one true enough to pass. And here's the part that makes it invisible. You keep functioning. You show up, you hit the deadlines, you make people laugh at lunch, and the performance is airtight. The struggling happens offstage. In the car after work, sitting in the driveway a long time. In the supermarket aisle, standing still slightly too long. And the whole time, you have a plan. You'll call them back when things settle. You'll be back in the chat once you're feeling more yourself. Because that's the rule, isn't it? You come back when you're fine. You always come back when you're fine. Run your own history and check. Every rough season you've ever had, your people heard about it afterward. Told from the far shore, in past tense, with the ending already safe. It was a rough few months, you say, and everyone nods, and someone squeezes your shoulder. Nobody at that table knows they're hearing about it for the first time because it's over. So the people who love you have never actually met your bad weather. They've only ever seen the photographs. Notice the rule underneath it because it's precise. You're allowed to be struggling, and you're allowed to be reachable. Never both at once. Small trouble is fine to share, even fun. The canceled flight, the flooded kitchen, the terrible date. You'll perform those for a whole dinner table. So the line isn't the size of the trouble. It's whether the trouble is finished. Survived things are stories, and unfinished things are need. Because a story asks nothing of the listener. But the present tense, the I'm not okay right now, that asks for something. And asking is the door you keep locked. It isn't privacy. Private people just live quietly. You're doing something more active than that. Managing the distance, checking the seals, all day, every day. And under all the managing sits one belief, so old it doesn't feel like a belief anymore. It feels like fact. Your need is a weight, and everyone you love is already carrying enough. So the silence, in your arithmetic, is generosity. You're not hiding from them. You're protecting them from you. That's the strange tenderness in it. Your disappearance is a love letter, written in a dialect almost no one can read. So what did you learn it? Because you did learn it. Nobody is born rationing themselves. Maybe it was a house where the adults were stretched thin, and you could read the whole day on a tired face at the door before it said a word. You learned to check the weather before you had feelings. Being no trouble got you loved. So easy, they said. So independent. So grown up, and every compliment taught the same lesson. Your absence of need is your best feature. Maybe the house had real weather of its own. Illness, money, a sibling who needed more. Your needs learned to wait their turn, and the turn didn't come. Or maybe you tested it once. You fell apart where someone could see, and it went badly. The sigh, the panic, the not now, and you filed the result away forever. People who study attachment have a gentle, sad name for what a child does then. Compulsive self-reliance. When comfort is unreliable, you stop asking for it, and you start managing alone. And the child's logic was perfect. If reaching out costs more than it gives, stop reaching. Handle things yourself, and then, if you like, show them what you handled. It worked. Say that plainly because it's true. Managing alone kept the peace, made you capable, made you the one other people could lean on. The child who needed nothing grew into the adult everyone calls solid. The low-maintenance friend, the strong one. The machine still runs. It just never learned how to stop. Now, cross to the other side of your silence, because there are people standing there. And they can tell, you know, not the details, the drop and signal. Your replies get shorter and arrive later. The joke lands half a beat off. Whatever carries your voice loses a frequency that only the people who love you can hear. So they ask, you okay? And the door answers for you, yeah, just tired, all good. And now they're holding a worry with nowhere to put it. If they push, the seals tighten, so gently they can't even name what happened. And people learn, without one word of agreement. You teach the people who love you to leave you alone. Then the season passes, and you resurface, glowing slightly, with the story in past tense. Watch their face closely this time. There's relief, and just behind the relief, a flicker of something else. Hurt. You went through that, and you didn't tell me. They don't say it, mostly, but the arithmetic lands on them all at once. All those weeks they thought they were close to you. This is the cruel mistranslation at the center of the whole pattern. You meant, I was protecting you. They hear, I didn't need you. Or, quieter and worse, they hear, you're not someone I trust with the real things. Your deepest act of care, received as a measurement of distance. And slowly your friendships take on a shape. You know everyone's mess. You're brilliant with their mess. 3 people call you first when things fall apart. You sat on kitchen floors at midnight. You've driven people to hospitals. You've talked someone through the worst night of their year, while your own unanswered messages piled up behind your voice. But it's a one-way door. Anything can come in, and nothing of weight ever goes out. A room like that gets lonely in a way that's hard to explain, because it's always full of people. Needed everywhere, known nowhere. The busiest phone in the building, and not one thread in it that knows what this month has actually been like. And here's how the belief protects itself. Because you never let anyone catch you, you've collected no evidence that anyone could. Every storm you've survived alone gets filed as proof that going alone works. But it isn't proof that you had to. It's only proof that you did. The theory that no one could handle you has never once been tested. It just sits there, undefeated, like a champion who never fights. Now hold the whole thing up to a mirror, because there's a double standard running underneath, and part of you already knows it. When your friend calls you at 1 in the morning, voice wrecked, saying, "I'm sorry, I didn't know who else to call." What do you feel? Be honest. Not wait. Something closer to honor. Out of everyone, they called you. You cancel the morning, you drive over, and that night quietly becomes one of the closest of the whole friendship. You have never once thought less of a person for needing you. Not once in your entire life. Burden, in the private law you live under, applies to exactly one person. And see what their falling apart gave you. It let you love them at full strength. The call at 1 in the morning wasn't a weight they added, it was a door they opened. Which means your disappearances aren't sparing your people a load. They're withholding a door. The exact door you'd be honored to walk through. You assume everyone else would resent. And think of the once or twice someone got in anyway by accident. They came round unannounced and caught you at the door with your eyes red and the kitchen a mess. What actually happened? Not the sigh, not the flinch. They came in, they put the kettle on, they didn't fix anything and they didn't run, and the friendship went somewhere it had never been able to go. Maybe there was also the other time. Someone who went quiet, changed the subject, made your bad month about them. One rough landing, and you grounded every flight since. But run those numbers the way you'd run them for anyone else. The people who came closer when you cracked, against the one who stepped back. And notice which one has been writing the policy. Now notice one more thing, the strangest thing. You don't actually disappear all the way. You leave a light on. The cryptic half message. The song shared with no comment. The sorry I've been off the radar that invites exactly one follow-up question. Part of you is hoping to be found without having to ask. That's the tell. Real solitude doesn't leave clues, and you leave clues. Somewhere under all the sealed hatches, the child who managed alone is still hoping someone comes looking anyway. Somewhere in the last few minutes, this stopped being general, didn't it? There's a season you're thinking of. Maybe it's the one you're in. Maybe there's a message sitting in your phone right now. 3 words, "How are you doing?" and a draft you've deleted 4 times. So see the disappearing for what it is. Not coldness, not distance. A child strategy, still running, still guarding a house you moved out of years ago. The people in your life now are not the tired face at the door. Most of them have been standing at your gate for years, holding covered dishes, slowly learning to stop knocking. And you were never a weight. You were a child handed the wrong scale, and you've been weighing yourself on it ever since. The light left on, the clues, the hope of being found. That isn't weakness leaking through. That's the healthiest thing in you, the part that never stopped believing someone would come. The message is still there. How are you doing? And for the first time you can see it isn't a test to pass or a load to spare them. It's a hand already held out, and it was never asking you to be fine. And the true sentence, the present tense one, the one that's been locked away all this time, is only 6 words long. Actually, it's been a hard month. The door was never locked from their side.